For daily Ask Reddit, people who were told they were going to die soon by a professional, but lived. What happened? Not me, but my husband. He was told he had ALS, but it turned out to be benign fasciculation syndrome. He fit the profile of an ALS patient. He's an athletic young male in his mid-30s. He's had been working out and losing weight when his symptoms worsened. His symptoms were muscle wasting and twitching. It was reasonable to suspect ALS, but without testing, he shouldn't have said anything. It was bullshit. The doctor hadn't done any tests, but based on his symptoms alone, he said, go home and get life insurance because he'd be dead within a year. Then told him he had to wait 3 weeks for the tests to confirm the diagnosis. We went home and started preparing, looking at assistive technology, making preparations for end-of-life care, and getting our financial house in order for me to handle raising a child on my own. I was pregnant at the time. My water actually broke 15 weeks early while we were in the middle of waiting for the tests. He's fine now. I'm thankful for that every day, and I have a special place in my heart for ALS patients and their families. My wife had severe brain swelling due to a virus. I was told that she was going to die and that I needed to say goodbye. So I went into the room. The doctors paused for a moment and I said goodbye. I told the doctors they did a great job and that I appreciated their help. I woke up the next morning and my wife is talking and responding to everyone in the room. There were no long-lasting ill effects of the brain damage and she is perfectly normal from a cognitive perspective. She even finished her master's degree. I was born with a faulty heart valve and replacement wasn't an option. The surgeon didn't want to do the surgery to basically patch the valve, but my parents strong-armed him into it. Doctors said I wouldn't survive. I did, then they said the patch would fail in 6 weeks. It didn't. Then for my whole childhood they insisted it was going to fail up until I was 16, and a whole panel of cardiologists basically said, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They said the valve would probably hold until my body started to break down in my 60s. I'm 32 now and doing fine. So my grandmother was told she was gonna die and given something like a week's notice. Whole family was gathered round her as she did the usual closing eyes, fading out, stopping breathing. What I'm assuming to be one of her friends burst in shouting her name and shaking her, and she wakes up and is now living healthily at home. Doctors had no idea what the hell just happened. Had a severe allergic reaction to a famous alcohol and energy drink combo. Was taken to R&D, UK version of her, where the doctors misdiagnosed it as an asthma attack and put me on a high-dose Ventolin nebulizer. I'm also allergic to Ventolin, so that compounded the effect. My heart rate continued to climb and my sats continued to drop. From here the story is secondhand, as I was delirious and then unconscious. Apparently they called my mum into the hospital expressly to say goodbye. She is a retired nurse. Took one look at my chart and told the consultant he was a fucking idiot and started turning things off. Much shouting and excitement later, security invited her to leave, but they did take me off the drugs and replaced them with something I wasn't allergic to. I woke up the next morning with the worst hangover of my life. I was told I had late-stage lymphoma by a doctor. He told me I had 4 to 5 months to live. I had extreme pain in my lower back and upper legs with a lot of swelling in the legs. Over 2 months I had several tests, including a biopsy that showed negative, but still had a massive lump near my spine. Turns out wasn't lymphoma, but a blood clot that quickly turned into almost half my body clotted due to me missing part of my vascular system. While in the ICU they gave me too many blood thinners and I almost bleed out, which is how my great grandma died. Good times. I had multi-system organ failure due to an infection, and the surgeons recommended my out-of-state family come say goodbye if they could, because I wasn't expected to last the weekend. After recovering for some time in the ICU, a random doctor popped by my room and said, "Whoa, you're still here? I thought you were a goner." Pretty sure his bedside manner was iffy, but at least I was alive. This is a story I've been told about 100 times. because I was too young to remember. I've been told I had gotten very sick when I was about a year old and the doctor said it was the flu. My mother had finally gotten me to sleep and went to nap, and my father went off to work. My dad liked to pop in during the day and thankfully he did. He said he could smell something foul when he entered the house and followed the scent into my room, where I was laying quite still, but awake in my own bodily fluids. Upon unbuttoning my sleeper he said that I was clammy, more pale than usual, and he could count my ribs. He rushed me to the hospital without waking my mother, where they told my father that I was in critical condition and likely wouldn't last through the night. 27 years later, I'm still hearing about how horrible my mother was for not staying awake for another 24 hours.